leadership coaching? What's its purpose? What's it about? How do you think about it?
Well, it's dear and near to my heart because my business is Leadership Coaching Incorporated, and we're 15 years old now, and I knew this was the heart of everything I wanted to do. In that, everything comes down to the interaction between a leader and the followers. You know, whether that's in a family or a business or a nation, you know, there's a relationship between the leader and the members of the group. And I just think a really important part of that relationship is the mentoring that would occur, where the leader is an agent for the maturity and growth and responsibility of those who report to him or her. So we'll use the term coach and coachee, but the coachee's maturity is what's at stake in that relationship. That is the essential context for all coaching, is the promotion of maturity. That's such an important point, because many people, when they coach and they are in interactions with employees, they believe their focus and their job is to give answers, to give solutions, to tell people what to do. So many leaders, even today, think that's their job. I've got to be directive. And when you look at what consequence directing someone has, it actually has the consequence of pushing them away from having to think on their own. So, you know, the saying that if you want people to be obedient, then tell them what to do. If you want them to think, then you have to learn how to coach, ask questions, and take I positions that have the effect of broadening people's thinking. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So I think the purpose of coaching has to be just fired into the brain of every leader, which is, I am here to help this person become more confident and to grow and to become more responsible. This is true for a parent. Well, think about it this way. Can I say that every interaction I have with the person's reporting to me has the effect of them becoming a little more responsible? That would be the optimum goal.
Can you tell me what it looks like?
It being the coaching interaction?
How does a coach know that they're doing it well?
I think there are a string of skills that are associated with higher maturity, higher functioning, that a coach would want to be equipped with that could help them in this effort to deliver maturity. And I say deliver maturity, not like it's a commodity, but it's I'd say to stimulate maturity in the coachee is a more accurate way of saying it. The first of those skills that comes to mind is simply being a really exquisite listener and being able to listen to what an employee or a coachee is saying and to what they're not saying, to be able to catch what they might be leaving out, what they might be afraid to say, what some of the emotional content might be, and to test for accuracy by reflecting back and catching what they're saying and checking your own understanding so that the coachee can get clear in their own head about what they're saying. I think that most people who are talking, there are times, many times, when they don't actually know what they're trying to say. They need some help. They need some good listening. So that'd be first. I think if you can't listen, then all the other skills are sort of not very useful, because it just means you're going to be talking at people. A second skill that I just think is so important is the ability to take clear I positions with a coachee. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. I don't agree with that. I'm lost. I'm not sure I understand where you're going here. I'm wondering what you see as the way out of this dilemma. I positions. And what goes with I positions as a critical skill is the ability to ask questions that are penetrating, that can drive thinking to a broader or deeper place. Not simply questions about what happened, but questions about what do you make of this? What are your thoughts about it? What does that experience get you thinking about or get you worried about. The big issue in coaching is to always make the person in front of you the focus you have for the session, not the problem they're talking about. And I see this as a triangle with the coach being in position A, the coachee being in position B, and the problem being in position C. And I think the coach really, it's sort of like a rookie mistake to get caught focusing on C. Too much of the focus on C, not enough on the focus on person B's response to C. So that's the way I would diagram it in the triangle, that the coach as person A, the discipline is to help B keep the focus on B and their response to B, to help B keep the focus on B and not get caught on focusing on the problem, which would be position C. So that's a discipline of every coaching interaction. Everyone wants to talk about someone else. You know, when I get at the dinner table with my wife, I might say, so what have you heard from Nick? Have you heard from Joe? Have you heard from Maria? You know, it's not, how are you doing? Because it's safer, it's easier, it's more comfortable, and certainly there's a place for that, but in the coaching interaction, there's no venting without responsibility. In other words, you don't get to come in here and just tell me all about how somebody else is dropping the ball and all your problems, and then you walk away and you have no responsibility to do anything about that. That's not coaching.
Let's go back to that. Let me repeat, there's no venting without responsibility.
Exactly. It's a great maxim for coaching. If you want to come in here and do a dump on me and tell me all about a challenge you have or a problem you have or a difficult person you have to deal with, I'm with that as long as at some point in that meeting you're okay with thinking about what your part in that is and what you're going to do about your part in it. If you don't want to talk about your part in it, that's okay too. But I'm not interested in listening to you vent if you're not interested in doing that. I think the idea is you're coming to me with a problem. I am very interested in how you think about this problem, how you see this problem, what you're interested in doing about the problem, what do you think your options are here. What I'm not interested in is you trying to help me see what a scoundrel person C is. I'm not too interested in that. As if I'm a higher functioning boss, that's not the position I want to put myself in.
Very interesting. That requires a level of shift in the head of any leader to, you know, this open door policy of people come to you, tell me the problems. I can see where this is venting without responsibility.
Yes.
And how that can, what's your experience with that? I mean,
yeah, it's a great example of how, again, we've talked so often in the past about how these sacred cows, these assumptions that an open door policy is best, an open door policy can be absolutely terrible because so often they foster these relationship triangles that encourage the person coming to you, the messenger, to not take responsibility for the problem. And any time the messenger is not looking at their own part in the problem, the person in the coach's chair is actually failing. You know, if you come to me and you want to talk about your sister, and I say to you, I agree, I think she's awful too, I've just sold you out. I've just cheated you. I've given you no help at all, nothing. I'm taking up your valuable time. All this is a nice little cozy chat, and both of us are feeling really good about our superiority, and the problem is never going to get fixed between you and your sister, never going to get addressed. So I have to be a little smarter than that, a little bit more on my game than that, and realize when you start talking to me about your sister, what I'm really interested in is, how do you take somebody on like that? What do you do? So I'm going to ask you those questions. You got quite a problem here. Or as Ed Friedman used to say, I wouldn't want to be you. He'd say it right to the person.
I wouldn't want to be.
I wouldn't want to be you, to make it clear that they are the one with the problem and he's not about to take it. So this is it is a level of craftiness and cleverness that you're not going to get hooked by the person by the problem being talked about. You're not going to spend too much time about that problem. If you want to come and talk to me about the fact that your husband has cancer, I don't want to talk all about the cancer, all about your husband. I want to talk about how do you manage that? How do you manage yourself in that? How do you stay sane? How do you get the information that you need? What's working for you? Then you're really getting valuable benefits from this coaching session because it's something you can control and you can do something about. And you're leaving with real value. It's not just cathartic and venting and feeling superior that you're not the problem and they are. It's just kindergarten stuff. I know it happens all the time. Or coaches who tell people what they need to do. This "you need to" phrase, it just should be thrown out. It doesn't have any place in vocabulary. You need to do that. You need to talk to him about this. You need to do that. Let me tell you what you need to do. I actually know what you need. I am clairvoyant, and I am all-knowing, and this is the way a lot of people talk. Like they're omniscient and they understand everything about it, instead of really giving the other person a chance to think about it and to take some responsibility for it. So this is important that the coach rein in any tendency to overfunction in the coaching relationship. Overfunctioning is defined by me as doing for others what others should and could be doing for themselves, including thinking. So it happens subtly, like a coach will say, well, don't you think it would be good if you XXX? Well, you think you're asking a question when you say it that way, but you're actually leading and revealing your own position. It's a form of telling. Don't you think? Isn't it true that? So the coach has to pay attention to language and mostly paying attention to motive. What is your motive here? Are you trying to be the hero and supply answers, or are you really interested in helping this other person grow? And are you okay with the possibility that this session might end with you not knowing how it's going to all turn out? When they go back to take that responsibility, how it's going to work, you may not be able to know that ahead of time. So there's a risk in it for the coach, who's also a boss and needs to run a business and get things done. Can they really put some weight on this person without knowing how it's all going to turn out? Is that okay?